So this is all back to mine, and we are at episode 21 already. I would still can't quite believe how many we've done, but this is Tuesday, the 10th of May, and it's 8:30 p.m. UK time, 2022. It's 12:30 p.m. PST, PDT. Because we're going to be talking to my guest in a minute, who I'll introduce, who's in San Francisco. So All Back to Mine is a show where I invite other guest DJs to come on the show. We talk about sort of their musical influences. We talk about various things to do with their DJ careers, things they're doing currently, things like Twitch, streaming, things like that. And then they choose 7, sometimes more, of their favorite 7s to play for me. Not always their favorite, but maybe a theme or a choice 7s. If you're watching this back later on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on Twitch, hit that follow button. If you're listening on Mixcloud, hit that follow button. But anyway, without further ado, here is my very special guest from San Francisco, DJ Sweettooth. I need the sort of clapping to go on.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, we were supposed to do this maybe March. I can't remember what day it was. It was a little while ago. But we couldn't do it. So I'm glad we managed to find another date to come on and sort of do this, because I've been looking forward to chatting to you, definitely.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you. It's always a pleasure to get guests on, because obviously, as with lots of other people on Twitch, we sort of know each other through the chat. But it's very different actually talking, rather than sort of me typing something in the chat, you responding, and etc. So it's quite cool. I always start with my guests. I try and take them right back to the beginning in terms of sort of musical influences. So who were your initial musical influences? Was it family, siblings, friends? Who would you say is there?
Probably the radio, probably pop radio.
Interesting. Yeah.
We had a few records around the house, but not too many. None of us were musical in the family.
Right.
But just the radio was on all the time. And I was, a kid of the 70s, growing up in Southern California. So we drove a lot, as car culture is popular in California. So we did a lot of driving and a lot of radio time. So, I grew up on, classic rock radio and pop tunes, AM radio. So that was probably kind of where I was inspired initially.
Okay.
And I consumed culture, a lot too, a lot of TV.
Yeah. And did you have sort of music at home? Did you have the radio on at home, or was it just on sort of car journeys?
Maybe a little bit at home, not too, maybe medium, half the time. So yeah, maybe a little bit. But I was always fascinated by electronics too. So if I had a transistor radio of my own, I was like, oh yeah, like here I can tune in and I can. And then you get a boom box and you're like, okay, I got my cassettes.
Yeah.
And then I could record off the radio, and I could listen to the whatever I want. So.
Did you have? I mean, I don't know, because here in the UK, people of a certain age, obviously my age, we used to listen to. They used to have the top 40 rundown. I think it's Billboard, isn't it? Top 100 over in the States. But here we would listen to the top 40, and I remember vividly, as do most people, listening. You'd record the songs you want, try and either pause out the talking in between, or record one cassette and then record it onto another cassette to cut out all the talking. Was that a thing in the States as well? Did people used to do that as well?
Yeah, pause tapes for sure. I would record, I think the earliest memory of me recording off the radio was like a comedy music show, Dr. Demento. And he broke like Weird Al Yankovic and a few other people. So he would have this sort of wacky show where he'd play all these like silly songs.
Right.
And I remember recording that on tape. And then beyond that, recording other songs, pop tunes, and, trying to make a compilation tape, or just trying to like record and stop after the song is done.
Yeah.
So you get like, and that was Journey, and that was it.
Yeah. It was fun, and also it takes us back to the sort of you'd make a mixtape, for example, for a friend, a girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever it was, and I don't know what the kids do these days. I mean, do they produce like a Spotify playlist and give it to?
Do they?
Someone they?
You're asking the wrong guy.
I don't know, but I
I
mean,
think I think that's the thing. Yeah, like I made you a playlist. I like
yeah,
you. Check
yeah,
out these songs by the Smiths. You know.
yeah. It's not quite the same because I haven't got the artwork and the drawings and all the rest of
Right.
it, but yeah, but no, I mean, it's interesting to see that there's similar sort of things happening across the pond as well.
For sure.
Okay, let's move on a little bit to DJing then. So when did you first sort of get into DJing and get the bug? Because it definitely is an addiction, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's see. I started out like I moved to San Francisco in 1993.
Right.
But prior to that, I was in a city, Santa Cruz, which is about an hour and a half away from San Francisco. So in 1993, El Carew, what's up, my man?
Hello, El Carew.
So I moved to San Francisco in 93, but I went to my first rave in 1991. And so when I moved to San Francisco, I got into raving like even like really significantly.
Well, let me
And
just pause you there. Let me just pause you there.
yeah,
When you say rave, what do you mean by rave? That what was going on in terms of the rave scene there?
it's like, underground warehouse parties with
Okay,
large sound systems. There was a crew that came out from the UK, the Wicked, or it was like I think they're the Tonka sound system in the UK,
right.
and they started the Wicked crew here. So it was like Yano and Garth and Marky,
Yeah.
um, Tony Hewitt, and I've seen Tony Hewitt on Twitch, which is amazing. And I was like, oh my god, like
Wow.
I used to rave with you like 25 years ago. Um, but
Okay.
so
So
I'd
pretty
go
much
and
the
it would
same
be like
sort of thing.
house techno,
Yeah.
breaks. Um,
And with these, because over here, obviously, it started very underground in terms of sort of illegal raves. Was this sort of illegal raves that were going on over there as well? Illegal parties, or were they sort of
a mix, yes,
okay?
definitely some illegal ones, and then some like slightly overground ones. So there would be locations that you're like, oh, we're going to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Second and Jackson again, okay, and that was like an underground rave, and it
And,
was just a
and
warehouse you could go to.
and would it be the same as here that you'd only find out very late in the
Oh
day as
yeah,
to where it is? Yeah. So the
oh yeah.
location would be like, right, okay, this is yeah,
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 so you find out, you're like, you got the flyer and you're like, call this number, and then you wait till the night of and you call the number, and then you're like, nothing's on the voicemail yet, and then like at 8 p.m. the voicemail says, you know, go to this checkpoint and we'll tell you where to go.
yeah.
And we're
And
like,
it's
okay, cool.
days before mobiles and
Oh
internet
yeah,
and social media and things. Certainly here you would have to have gone to a telephone box with your 5p or your 10p to sort of put
yeah.
in the thing to call. Okay, so yeah, so the raving. So that's where you started,
So
and then
yeah, and
where did
then
it
I
go
was
from
like,
there?
I was big into like DJ culture then,
Yeah,
and so I had heroes that were DJs of, I was like, oh my God, these are my favorite DJs, and buying mixtapes and just listening to those mixtapes over and over. But then I had a bunch of friends that I would rave with, and a number of them were starting to DJ as well. And I kind of came to a point that I was like, wait, if so and so can do it, like I could do this,
okay, yeah.
because there was a mystery behind it, right? You're like, DJing, what? That's like crazy. I don't even know what's happening. The music is so good, and how did you blend that? What is going on? But
I
then
think
as
that's
you're around it
well,
more
yeah.
and you're in friends' living rooms after hours or something, you would be like, oh, okay, cool. And then people would show you a little bit. And then finally I bought my turntables in 97 and
What
practiced, bought a bunch of records. And I wouldn't say I was a DJ really then. It probably took me a couple of years to
what
really
what
kind of
what, what did you have? So what decks did you buy back then?
these decks.
Oh, so the same day.
The
Amazing.
same ones, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So,
To say hello to Chris Wheatley, King
hey
Taco Truck
Chris,
as well.
King Taco Truck in the house.
I mean, a lot of people talk about their decks and how they've had their Technics for so long, but it does show they were built to last, and they're tanks. Really, the fact that you've
They
had
need
them.
it. These need like an update, like a little repair, but
Well,
they're still
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good.
I think most of them need a little bit of a service, don't they? A little bit of
Yeah,
tweak. But yeah, as El Carew says, the SL 1200 will survive us all.
that's true. Very
Maybe they'll be
true.
like cockroaches. So if there is a nuclear war, that
Right.
like the cockroaches, there'll just be a ton of 1210s and 1200s sort of knocking about. But yeah, here's a quick question from King Taco Truck. How many styluses have you gone through in that time? Do you figure? That's a difficult one.
Lots. 30, 40, 50. I don't know. A
Here's a
lot.
sort of follow-up question to that. Do you think styluses are getting better? Do they last longer now, or do they last less now, do you think?
I'm a little lost without my 44/7, so it's hard to say. Those were, yeah, the 44/7s is basically the cartridge and the stylus that I played on for forever.
Yeah.
And so when those were unavailable, I was like, what am I going to do? So I don't know if I went to the Ortofon vinyls. I've got the Ortofon scratches, which I just bought like recently.
I was
And I'm
going to say,
just
yeah,
trying to like,
because I saw that you've got those vinyl ones. How are they holding up?
they're pretty good. They're great. I'm not a scratch DJ. So they seem fine on the, the back queue. Yeah, they're nice and robust. I don't have a problem with them. I think they're solid. I went with the Jicos for a little bit.
G-codes, yeah. I think a few people
I
went
had
for
some of
those.
those, and I was like, "Nah, they're okay."
Yeah, I think that's the general consensus. King Techo Trucker, as I think we've answered it. He was going to ask what your go-tos were and if they were new tech or older, and I think we've answered that. But that's great. Okay, let's take a pause on the DJ career for the minute. The
That
premise
was
of the
about it.
show.
I peaked.
Okay, well. In a way, Twitch has sort of created this whole secondary DJ career in a sense, but we'll come back to that in due course. But obviously, the premise of the show is you choose 7 choice 7s, as we said before, often more than that. But let's start with your first one. So tell us what it is, why you've chosen it, and then we'll hear sort of about a minute and a half or so of it.
Okay, I'll keep it short and sweet. I do have a whole bunch that I want to get to, but this one is on the Westbound label. It's by Funkadelic, and
Nice.
it's a lower tempo Funkadelic tune that I don't remember where I got it. Actually, I think I got it pretty cheap, but it was like in the back of a box that I had here, and I didn't really play it for a long time, and really kind of rediscovered it probably about 10 years ago. I've probably had it for like 15 years, but I discovered it rediscovered about 5-10 years ago. And I was like, wait a second, this is like a really vibey track. So the name of the track is How Do You View You? And I love the lyrics.
Cool. Let's hear it. Oh, you've cut out. There you go.
Can you see what's going down in you? How do you feel, yeah? Can you really relate to what we're programmed to do? See it. Ever know someone who take personal the rain? Jesus cup half empty rather than half full.
Wait a second. What's happening here? I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Sorry, my fault. Is that better?
Yeah, we can hear you.
That was a cool track. I guess the great thing about that is obviously when you dig through your own collection and discover something you've forgotten about.
Oh yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah, it's quite well. It's the pros of having probably so many records, I would say. I mean,
Yeah.
I assume like most people, you're buying records pretty regularly.
Yeah, pretty constantly. It's funny though that I didn't. There were about 4 or 5 years where I didn't DJ hardly at all.
Right.
From about, I don't know, 2014, 2019 or so, or yeah, right around there. I don't know. There was just a few years, 3 or 4 years maybe, that I just didn't. My turntables were in a separate room. I didn't have a kid yet, and then when I had the kid, I was like, I definitely didn't DJ,
Yeah.
and I didn't really have a space for it. And but now that I DJ regularly online, I feel the need to buy new tunes, and keep it fresh because I don't want to be playing like, oh yeah, like Carrie always plays that. He's gonna play that one again.
It's a funny separate addiction, isn't it? That I think that you've got to always have new tunes. Because the reality is, I suppose, the tunes that you probably played when you first came on Twitch, which I'm assuming, like most people, was probably about 18 months to 2 years ago, maybe something like that. The tunes you played then, you might not necessarily be playing now. And if you did play them now, people wouldn't remember from like 2 years ago or 18 months ago that you played that tune. It's one of those, isn't it? And especially with vinyl, I think there's just this addiction to just keep buying records, and fear of missing out. I think that's the other thing. I think a lot of
For
us have.
sure. Yeah. Like, well, we're collectors too. We like to
Yeah.
collect, verging on hoarding at times. But,
Yeah.
we also purge, Chris Wheatley's a seller. So,
Yeah.
I'm getting rid of, records as well. But, I like to collect things. I've collected, uh, you know, vintage movie posters, records. And when I was a kid, comic books. So typewriters at one point I collected. So yeah, like but yeah, you want to kind of keep up on the good stuff, and
It's certainly an issue within the 45s community. I think because a lot of things are like 300 pressings. Some
yeah,
some are bigger, and there is this problem that if you don't quite get it when it first comes out, and obviously the prices have gone crazy. They're sort of whatever 14, 15 quid now, some of them. But if you don't get it, then it's then flipped on Discogs for like twice the price 3 weeks later. And it's this crazy world that we live in. If only people pressed more, like 500 instead of 300, it wouldn't quite be so much of a problem. But that's the 45s community. We've got another question. What is your white whale record?
oh boy, I'm the worst with that. I don't really have like a proper want list. It's so people are like, oh well, that's what about this one? And I know music pretty good, but not as well as a lot of the cats here. Especially all these like heavy duty record collectors. I'm just like, oh, I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
um but I don't really keep a list, so I'm kind of haphazard when I go to the record shop or any store. I'm just like, I just look at everything in the store, and look at the producers and the players on the album or 12-inch or whatever, and just kind of go from there. There's probably a couple of things that I'm not remembering that I really want.
I
I don't
guess
know.
if it was right in front of you, you'd be like, wow,
Oh
let's
yeah,
see
it's
it.
like, oh yeah, this thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd say that if there's like one thing like, oh, I got to get, the Beatles Butcher cover.
Yeah.
Not that that would be my white whale, but that I don't necessarily have one in mind.
Yeah. Well, we're always on the search for whatever comes out. I think for me, I always like finding covers. I'm a big fan of covers as a 45s DJ, and it's always when you come across something, you're like, oh, that's a cover of such and such, and you're like, oh, that's quite interesting. So I'd always try and grab any covers that come along. But that's a very good
Yeah.
question. Thank you, King Taco Truck. Right, I know you want to try and get through more records, so let's jump to the next one. What have you got next for number 2?
Okay, let's do a quick one here. This one is a record I picked up in Japan and Tokyo. Danny Bounce, my man.
I don't know if he's talking about me or you. I assume
Yeah,
you.
he's talking about
assume
you,
you.
clearly. Danny Bounce, you better call me when you get in town.
Yeah, we'll talk about San Francisco in the next bit, but yeah, Danny's going to be out there soon.
So I was in Japan in 2017, right before my daughter was born, and it actually worked out pretty well because I wanted to go record shopping, and my wife was 7 months pregnant, and she didn't really want to walk around too much. So after we did morning, activity, she would go back to the room and rest, and I would go record shopping. So I found this record at Jammy's Records in Tokyo.
Okay.
It's like an all reggae dance hall shop, and it's a cover. Back on your mic, I think. Mic, check.
Try that again. Sorry. Yeah, that's great. I love covers. I love reggae covers. I haven't heard that one before. Who's that one by?
That's by The Kids.
The Kids. And when is that? How long ago is that from?
I don't know, but he pulled it out from behind the counter after I dug through the shop. He's like, "Oh, you like this kind of stuff? You might like this one a lot." And it's on the Small Axe label, but he was like, "This is the action. This is what you want."
Keep it there for a sec. Let me do that. There you go. That's better. The Kid, Beat It, The Kids. Yeah. 90. Well, I can't see a year.
2003.
Yeah. So that was from the special section from behind the counter.
Yeah. So
was that the more expensive box?
I don't know. It was. I don't remember how it was. Blocked it out.
It's one of those, isn't it? Sometimes you just think, okay, you know what? This is so good, I've got to get it. And you might not come across it again. That's the other thing in a record shop.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, you just might not ever see that again. Well, that's great. Yeah, reggae and covers. That's perfect. 2 out of 2 so far. 2 out of 2. Right. Let's go back to San Francisco then. That's where you live, and you've been there quite a long time now. You're saying.
Yeah, I've been here since 1993. What year is it now? 2022.
2022.
Wow.
I'm trying to think when I would have been there. I was there maybe late, I don't know, 2003, maybe something like that. 2004, something like that. It's a long time ago now. But yeah, so tell us about the scene. What's the sort of DJ scene like, and where are the record shops that Danny Bounce should hit up when he gets to San Francisco?
Let's see, Danny, you got to hit. You can hit Amoeba in the Hate, which is pretty solid. Still, it can be picked over, but it depends on the day. They do not have any listening stations, but you should definitely go to Groove Merchant Records and Originals Vinyl. There's a couple of decent used shops. Those are the good used shops. Hate Street, Chris doesn't have too much anymore. It's got Amoeba Music, and that's about it on Hate Street for record stores.
Yeah, I definitely.
It's kind of dried up a little bit, to be honest. I mean, but there's like everybody's a DJ here, right? So, and it's a relatively small town.
Okay.
So there's been there's been a lot of Open Mind was great, Chris. That was my jam. But yeah, it's kind of the scene's okay. It's dried up a little bit in terms of like vinyl DJs. Frosty Nugs, Open Mind in Oakland. Yeah, maybe. What's that owner's name? Harry? I can't remember. But
give me some geography. Where? Because I've heard of Oakland a lot, but I've got no idea where it is in terms of San Francisco. How
it's
far
like
away?
It's across the water. It's about a 15-minute drive over a bridge.
Oh, okay. All right, so not far.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a DJ scene wise, there's there's still some clubs and things, but it's pretty limited. And I think I don't know, my old man point of view is like, this isn't cool anymore. And I think there's still kids that go out and do stuff. But there's, not really a scene for funk and soul and disco and boogie. That doesn't really happen here. There's some bars that still have turntables, a couple, but there's very few venues that will have good equipment to actually, or even adequate equipment.
Yeah, that's the
could,
problem, isn't it? It's certainly as a vinyl DJ, and certainly in the UK, if you, a lot of venues don't have it, so you have to take your own stuff and PA system and decks and mixer and all that, and that becomes a real pain.
No,
or they have and it's beaten up stuff, or there's still venues that do it, but I think certainly here in the UK it's getting less and less as well. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just space and they're trying to make more money from people buying beers rather than paying for DJs, but it's the way it's going. Cool. Okay. Let's keep the music rolling. What have you got for number 3?
Oh, okay. So I mentioned earlier that I remember listening to a radio show called Dr. Demento, and he broke Weird Al Yankovic and played a bunch of these silly songs, and this is one of those silly songs. And I will say that I'm going to stop it and then jump to one of the good parts in the middle. Forgot there was this long intro on here.
Trying to tell me how to live, but I don't listen to her cause my head is like a sieve. I said turn that thing down and get ready for school. Hey, what are you trying to do? You ruined my record, man. I just bought it.
That's brilliant.
That's Cheech and Chong with Earache Eye.
Yeah. I mean, hold on. Let me do that. Let me move you across. Let me do that. Yeah. I mean, it's Cheech and Chong. That's brilliant. That's classic.
What's up, Mrs. Sam? I see you.
Which film is that from? I mean, the only one I think I've seen is Up in Smoke.
It's just from an album. It's just from one of their comedy albums.
Okay, cool. But this is why I love this show, because you just don't know what my guests are going to play, and it's just like, right, play whatever you want, as long as it's on a 45 or a 7. But yeah, no, that's a great choice. Brilliant choice. Thank you so much. Yeah, if I haven't said hello to Mrs. Sam 2020 and Benny Goggs, hello. Frosty Nugs, hello. And also, I think we saw DJ Decal in here a little bit earlier. I don't know if he's still with us, but yeah, hello to everyone. Thank you for tuning in. If you're going to host, that's great. Hit the host button, and let's see if we can get some more people in here. But yeah, lots of cool stories. Okay, let's jump to Twitch, and then we'll come back to a few things that sort of follow on for that. So how did you first come across Twitch? First of all, I think that's the first question. So yeah, how did you come across Twitch? And then secondly, the follow on is how did you then get involved and go from there?
Sure. I've got a lot of opinions on Twitch. My introduction was like everybody else. I was DJing with a group of friends at Double P in the house. Hello. was DJing with a group of friends at a bar. We're doing a monthly, and when everything closed down due to COVID, we ended up doing our personal party online on Twitch.
Yeah.
My friend was like, "Hey, why don't we all just DJ on Twitch, and then we could have a Zoom call, and we can kind of have this like online party." And so we did that a handful of times, and it was on somebody else's channel. And I kind of made my own channel, and I didn't really ever use it for the first few months. Well, I guess I maybe month in, but I basically just
Yeah.
started to play on my own channel, and I was like, okay, cool. And instead of just doing those like friends events, I said, hey, I'm going to try out my own brand and
Yeah.
kind of just go on do my own thing. And that's proved to be pretty successful for me. So I've been lucky enough to, you know, have met, all these wonderful people online, yourself included. Um, hey Kelly, how you doing?
Hello,
And
Kelly. Hello,
I
Dorothy.
really feel, I gotta just say how much gratitude I have towards this community and all the other streamers and DJs. And I really feel seen and valued here. And I
Yeah.
feel like I've found my tribe. And uh, my wife even said, it's great. You found your people. Uh, and it's been wonderful. Yeah. Like all this record nerds or music lovers,
Yes.
uh, it's like, okay, cool. Now we found each other. And it's like, having friends in the UK or Japan or Australia, or Germany. It's crazy. And I'm
It,
like,
it
I've, talked to these people on the phone and become good friends with them. So
it
it's
is
been a joy.
amazing how it is so global. It is worldwide, and like you say, I mean, I've got friends, in various places, but obviously now I've got friends in pretty much every country you can think of. And not just, just friends, but people who've, DJ'd with, DJ'd alongside, done a mix, done this, that, and the other, come on talk shows, it's been pretty crazy, really.
Yeah.
And it's we've talked about this about if it wasn't for the pandemic, I don't know if we'd have quite got to this. It might have done at some point, but I
Yeah.
don't think, because we were all forced online and forced to sort of do something with our creativity and DJ. If the pandemic hadn't happened, I think a lot of us would have just carried on in our sort of little worlds, doing our little
Yeah.
gigs here, there, and everywhere. And some of the bigger DJs obviously just carry on with their tours and etc. But it's that. Right, we've got another question. King Taco's brilliant questions. I asked because live you can feel the crowd. Now, Twitch, it seems you can play just what you like and watch the emote reactions. That's very true, isn't it? You can play pretty much whatever you want on Twitch. Big up to Air Adam
Yeah.
and Paul Sitter as well.
Adam, good to see you. Paul Sitter in the house. Austin
Yeah,
Brady. Hello.
Austin Brady. Yeah, welcome everyone. Yeah, I mean, there's a good question actually. So how does it compare? Again, sort of stealing from Kintaco. Obviously, playing to a crowd is one form of DJing. DJing on Twitch is a slightly different form of DJing. How do you decide what you're going to play in terms of sort of Twitch?
Well, it's much more freeing, and you can really play whatever you want. But I wouldn't say that, because I didn't really have a large DJ career in the real world, and I still don't.
Right.
I'd play I've played around San Francisco a bunch, and I've played at a bunch of bars and maybe a couple of clubs here. But I've played a lot of weddings, but I've never really changed my style too much
Okay.
for the gigs. So if whenever I did a wedding, I would talk to the bride and groom and say, hey, well, you're hiring me for me. You're not hiring me just to play your
Exactly.
songs. So if we're not a match, we're not a match.
Yeah, totally.
And it would be the same for like a gig. I would kind of go into a bar gig and I'd be like, I'm really feeling like I want to play surf rock. And
Yeah.
I would go in and play a surf rock set. But if it was like more of a club, I'd be like, hey, I'm really into like a new disco kind of housey vibe. I'm into that. I'll play that. But on Twitch, it's really kind of, I guess I do cater to whatever the event might be, if there's a raid train on Twitch, but if it's my own,
Yeah.
afternoon gig, I might just play whatever I'm feeling. Like
Yeah.
on last Sunday, I was like, I just feel like really tired and mellow. So I'm just going to play like a lot of jazz. And I think I mixed one record. And that was, it was just like nice and easy.
But again, that's the beauty of Twitch, isn't it? Because obviously there's DMC champions, there's turntablists, there's bedroom DJs, there's gigging DJs, and there's people selectors, people who just play records. And it's amazing that there is this ability for anyone of any ability to just go on and play, and people to watch. King Taco, you keep the questions coming, but here's another question from him. Maybe will we ever see Sweettooth in jeans and t-shirt? Well, the jeans are there.
I'm wearing jeans.
But not the t-shirt. I mean, you are one of the smartest DJ dressers on Twitch, I would say.
I am stuck now. I have to, right? It's part of my brand. I'm like, I can't not do it. People are going to freak out.
Yeah, as LP says, Sweettooth is the smartest dressed man on Twitch. And Chris Wheatley agrees. But yeah. But like you say, yeah, it's sort of tying yourself in now, but it's all good. Yeah, you're not.
I did have there's a couple of things about Twitch I was going to mention since we're talking about Twitch.
Yeah, go for it.
Obviously the community here is, burgeoning, and it's very like fertile ground, and it's going to probably get even bigger. And I've met, some of these DJs in real life, whether it be Morse Code and DJ Ivy or Don Perignon, or DJ Epic, and got to DJ with them in real life, or Hey
That's
Riggs, and they're all like friends now. And it's great that we support each other and everything. And it's interesting because I see a lot of other DJs online, and I check them out, and sometimes I'm like, okay, cool, I want to check you out. And there's a couple of things about Twitch that I think are less than desirable. I'm not really like into. Like a follower or subscriber only chat.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm like, what is that? I'm not like, I don't get it. I'm like, hey, I just came in on the raid, and I want to say like, hey raid, what's up? And I'm like, it's follower only. I'm like, nah, I'm out. I'll see you later. So
I mean, follower is one thing, but I think, like you say, subscriber is just another whole level. And I think DJ Premier was doing some streams the other day, and it was literally, I think a lot of us were watching. It was just subscriber only, and like, okay, for most people, it's a few dollars, but it's like it's almost like an obligation if you want to be part of the stream, and it's just I don't really get it.
I would like it to be. It's inclusive, right? We're really, and this might not last forever. This whole like playing recorded music online. So, those sort of things that, and for what, you've got 50, 60, 120 people in, and exactly. It's amazing to see like what the gamers, like random gamers got 300 or 1,200 people watching. And, our game is playing records, and we're still small potatoes.
We're still tiny, aren't we? We're still niche.
Yeah.
I mean, even, what probably the biggest one is Scratch Bastard, isn't he? And he's maybe getting 1,000 viewers, maybe something like that from some of his biggest
Jeff gets like.
But we're talking 1,000. We're not talking 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 like these gamers get. Now, admittedly, they've got a head start on us, and they've been doing it much longer than us DJs. And maybe one day, maybe in like 3, 4, 5 years time, the DJs will be getting tens of thousands of people watching. It may not be, because what we play in vinyl is still pretty niche, so we may not get there. But it'd be interesting to see how things pan out really going forwards. But the other thing is viewer fees. I think a lot of us had a fear that when the pandemic we're still in a pandemic, but when lockdown stopped and people went back to real life, that the numbers would go down, and they don't seem to, which is good. They seem to be going up, if anything. So that's good. Not that it's just about numbers, but
yeah, it all counts, and there's a whole technique to streaming as well, that there's presentation and the music you play and your skills, your cameras, your lighting,
Yeah.
or how what your setup is, whether it be like a bunch of emotes flying over the screen and the chat rolling on the screen, or if it's clean or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
If you talk on the mic or if you don't, how much you talk on the mic, how much you talk over songs or not. But there's also people want to connect. It's a community, so we want to say hi to Slim Gets Rad. Hello.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
I
Danny
think
Bounce. Go
it's
ahead.
like Danny's saying, isn't it? It's better
Yeah.
to be in a smaller exclusive club with friends than a super club with 10,000 members. Which
Absolutely.
which makes sense. And also sometimes the chat, if you go in and watching some of these bigger DJs, the chat's just rolling and rolling and
Oh,
rolling.
yeah.
And you can't actually communicate with anyone. And part of the thing of Twitch is communicating with the DJ, but also communicating with other people in the chat who are connected with or making new friends or whatever. So it's
For sure.
it's definitely two sides.
Hey, Bod, how you doing?
And so thank you everyone for tuning in. Hello to Bod. Slim Gets Rad. Al Karu said hello to earlier. Air Adams in the house. I hope I haven't missed anyone.
And I will. I'm gonna
45 Finch as well. But yeah, thanks for everyone for joining. Right, let's have another song. Let's have another 45.
Okay.
What have you got?
This one is. This is an oldie, I guess. A popular tune by the Rivingtons, and you'll know it immediately. But this record is special to me because it came from my dad's collection.
Oh wow!
And I was like, oh yeah. So here it is.
Cool.
Funniest sound I ever heard, and I can't understand a single word. Is he serious or is he playing? Oh, mama is all he's saying. Papa, ooh, papa, 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 I said, hey there, papa, what's your name?
So that's Rivingtons with Papa Oo Mau Mau.
So tell me, did I don't know who did it. Word is the Bird. Did they version that? Did they sample that?
So that's this. Oh God, it's the Surfmen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trashmen. Sorry, the Trashmen did Surf and Bird, which is
Bird,
very similar.
Yeah.
But it's a little faster, and so this one's more of like a doo-woppy sound.
Yeah.
I could dig out the Trashmen. I could try and find it somewhere here.
We sort of mentioned about the gamings, and King Taco's making a very good point that they had like 8 years head start on music in every other category. And he said that originally there was only one category on Twitch, which was gaming, and then obviously music, talk, etc., all relatively new categories. So that probably explains as well where we are really. Okay, I don't know if you said all of the things. You said there was a couple of things about Twitch that you wanted to sort of mention. Did you mention all of them, or was there anything else you wanted to sort of
What about
point
Twitch? Yeah, there's a bunch of things.
Go ahead. I mean,
yeah.
We're all streamers, or everyone, it's we have to have these conversations just to see, where we are and how things can be maybe improved further down the line.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, Danny Bounce said it, community.
Definitely.
But I remember a while back I was on NYC Dope's channel, and they put up a poll, and it was like, what's most important to you on Twitch? The music, the community, emotes, whatever the 5 categories were.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know why I clicked it, but I immediately just was like the community.
Yeah.
And out of the poll, like everybody was like the music. And I was like, well, yeah, probably that's true. I probably would vote, I go to DJ channels to listen to the music that I want to hear, but I will sometimes go to channels just for my friends.
Yeah.
And, I'll just be like, hey, like I'm just here for the chat and to like hang out and, give, Don Champ sound, some some gruff, or I still like the music he plays, but I think that the community is very close to number one
Yeah,
here for me, and it's just
definitely.
been I'm just so grateful that people tune in.
Yeah,
I never thought, I'm just like, oh my God, because I'm like, I still feel like a little bit of a imposter.
imposter syndrome. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm still like this bedroom, dining room DJ.
yeah.
Uh, that I'm like, all right, well, I'm just playing records.
Well, it's interesting what Frosty Nug says. It says early in the pandemic it was the community. Now it's community and the music. Now that they found all these vinyl DJs. Right. There's a question coming from Benny Gogs, but I'm just gonna. Yeah, no, let's jump. My mind's gone blank on that one. Right. Benny Gogs has got a question. What's your favorite thing about San Francisco?
Well, geez, it's funny you ask that because I'm kind of ready to leave. So
You did mention that to me before.
I'm kind of ready. I'm at that age where I'm like, all right, I want a little, a little more space. We live in a 2-bedroom apartment and it's a pretty good neighborhood. But San Francisco is relatively cold for my taste. Um,
Yeah, it's a bit
and
more of a sort of European-y city, isn't it? I would say
yeah,
in
it's
terms
it's
of weather.
it's a little chilly.
Yeah,
Yeah, Benny Gogg, sorry. No, I mean I still love the Bay Area, but I would like a warmer climate
a bit more spread.
and a little bit more space. But I've
Yeah,
been here so long that I feel like I've kind of done most everything. And now that I'm a dad, and that's my focus is, being a dad and
yeah.
just, working and then DJing on the side, that I would like, going out doesn't really excite me that much. I'm like, I mean, I am gonna go see Lee Fields in about a week, which is gonna be rad. So
That's cool. Danny Bounce, I think, having heard that the weather's not too hot, is going to unpack his shorts for his trip. Right. I mean, let's keep the music rolling because they've all been brilliant so far. I always lose count. I think you've probably played 4, maybe 4, maybe 5. 4, yeah. So this is number 5. King Taco says, head over to Concord, warmer there and close. So what's this one? Number 5. What have you
okay,
got?
so this one, I love all styles of music, and one of those styles is like old country and western from the
Okay.
50s and 60s and sometimes the 70s. Um, but this one is by one of the greats, Marty Robbins. I was going to play El Paso. I do have that on a 45, and it's a picture sleeve.
Cool. Let me.
But instead of playing this song, which everybody knows and is an amazing, amazing story of romance and heartbreak, I'm going to play this other tune, which has a little bit more of a Hawaiian feel to it. And this one's called Devil Woman.
I told Mary about us. I told her about our great sin. Mary cried and forgave me, and Mary took me back again. Said if I wanted my freedom, I could be free evermore. But I don't want to be, and I don't want to see Mary cry anymore. Oh, devil woman, devil woman, let go of me. Devil woman, let me be, and leave me alone. I want to go home. Mary is waiting and weeping down in our shack for the...
Lovely, lovely track, that one. Big up to Mark Funk as well.
Hey,
Cool.
Mark Funk.
That was lovely track. But
yeah, I love Marty Robbins, and he's just a great storyteller. And that just holds a good, nice. It's a warm place in my heart for that kind of music.
Definitely.
And Danny Bounce, you probably want to bring your shorts because if you're in Marin, it's going to be warm up there. So you do want the shorts.
I'm being told that the show needs to be later to avoid the bedtime. Well, having said that, DJ D is coming on next Monday, and obviously she's in Australia, so we are doing a later show. That's like 10 o'clock at night, UK time, so that she hits 7 a.m. in Australia. But yeah, cool. Right, before we move on from Twitch, let's talk about, you've talked about community, and we've talked a little bit about raid events, but obviously you run your own events. And one of them is Vinyl World Cup. So, when did you start that? What's behind it? And, what are you sort of promoting in terms of that? And I'll just put the flyer up for the next one, which is a week on Friday. And there's me on there.
Oh,
just
look at that.
There's a surprise.
Look at that.
But yeah, it's another great lineup. So obviously you, me, Little Dave, Mike C, Mr. Lob, DJ Beat, Gen Rock, and J1. But yeah. So tell us about that. So where did you come up with the idea? What's it promote?
Well, it's in the name there. It's the Vinyl World Cup. It started. When did it start? It started a year and a half ago, I think. Yeah, just about a year and a half ago. And I was like, well, I think there was an event that I did that oh my God, Rosie Buns and Carla Bradley and oh my God, I'm forgetting the other lady put together. It was called the Vinyl Block Party. Okay. And it was like Victoria Rollins, DJ Epic, Golden Child, myself, Records by Wolf, and a few other people that I'm not remembering right now. And right about that time, I was like, man, I want to do something like that. And I just kind of came up. I wanted it to be like more global.
Yeah.
And so, which is a little tricky with the time zones, as you know.
Yeah.
And so, the only rule, if you're on the team, the only rule is you have to play records. You can't do Serato.
Yeah.
Or CDJs. You can't do that. And you can play anything you want. So if you wanted to come in and say like, hey, I'm really in a metal mood, you play a metal set. But there's been so many great DJs that have agreed to play, and it's just been honestly almost more fun to curate the Vinyl World Cup than to actually play in it. For me,
yeah, I definitely get you. I definitely get you on that. Because obviously I put on a lot of raid events, and it's just interesting to see who you get on and what they're going to play. And yeah, time zones are crazy to try and remember, but I know about time zones now. I don't think I did 2 years ago. Whereas now, if you say to me, "Oh, I'm in Eastern," I'm like, "Okay, that's 5 hours behind the UK," or if I'm Pacific, 8 hours, or it's things that I now know. Or they have to check when they change the daylight savings. That's when it really goes crazy.
Yeah,
because different countries change at different times, and you're just like, "Oh no."
I almost missed a set for a Brazilian event that I was on, and I was like, okay, I'm going to be on in an hour and 15 minutes. And then I just happened to like check something, and I was like, wait, who's DJing right now? DJ Vilas? And I was like, wait, I think I'm after him. And then I was like, oh, I've got less than 5 minutes to start. And I was not ready. Thiago Ja was like texting me. He's like, are you okay? Is everything okay? And I'm like, no, I'm okay. Just give me a couple minutes.
Yeah, I had that as well. I think the DJ, the two DJs, what I thought before me was something like, oh yeah, and then we've got such and such in an hour and 20 minutes. I was like, what? An hour? I thought it was 2 hours and 20 minutes. But I guess now, I assume now, you, like most people who stream, you can probably switch it on relatively quickly and get going. It's not like the old days when we first started, it would take forever to sort of set up. And get
I still
going.
have to do a little bit of setup because it's the dining room. So I've got a few things I kind of have to build out, but the overhead camera and some of the lights just stay there. But I used to break down a lot of it, and now it's just kind of like a broadcast studio in the dining room here.
Yeah. I'm going to say hello to Nat Jacko as well in the house. Welcome.
Hey, Nat. Another Vinyl World Cup alumni.
Brazilian DJs that we've connected with over the years. And big up Nat Jacko for Shambra. I mean, Shambra is an amazing festival.
Yeah, huge. Shambra Queen.
definitely. Right, let's have another record.
Oh, okay. Here,
What have you got? You've set yourself up here. You said you wanted to get through loads of records, and I keep going, put a record on, put a record. We'll still get some chat in between.
This is a little bit of an obvious one, but this song, this is like the ultimate soul tune for me. It makes me cry pretty much every time. So I might go on the overhead if I get a little weepy, but I'll only play a little bit of it. This one is a classic by Al Wilson.
That never knew how to smile till you came into my life. And these are the arms that long to lock you inside every day and every night. Girl, and here is the soul of which you've taken control. Can't you see I'm trying to show love is right?
Oh my God, I just want to play that song all the way through every time.
It's a lovely track. Yeah, beautiful. And I think even Nat Jacko is going to cry. She wants to see you crying.
Oh, I'm a softie. I'll cry at anything. And I don't vulnerability is authenticity. So there's no shame, in crying. And I'm not I don't feel any need to be macho or strong and hard. So that's not really me. I want to lean into the emotions that I'm feeling.
I'm gonna say big up to Ed Bond. He says a lovely glass. So I went to a DJ at a beer festival at the weekend, and this is the glass that they had that I was enjoying the beers in. And yeah, that's from the Brewfest in Arundel. Big shout out to Get It Together for putting that together. Right, I love this. We're getting more questions from the viewers. Here we go. What is the story with your Elvis jumpsuit?
Yes. The Elvis jumpsuit. So let's see. It's a little bit of a secret. So it
Don't have to divulge secrets if you don't want to.
I know it's a little bit of a secret. But I did get it as a it was in a commercial that my company created. And it was a costume in this commercial from a high profile tech company, and they made a commercial that had a bunch of Elvises in it, and so they had these costumes, and so these costumes were sort of left over, and I got to take one. And cool. It kind of fit me. So I've worn it on stream maybe once or twice. I actually have a white one and a blue one. So, and they're like professionally made, like Elvis jumpsuits. They're not cheap. They're not like the ones you would get at the party store. They are heavy and very bedazzled.
There you go. There you go, Mrs. Sam. That's your answer, and that's a great story. That's a great story. Cool. Okay. And Danny says he remembers that Apple advert. I don't remember it, but maybe he does. Okay. Let's Let's put another tune. Let's keep the music rolling. Let's put another
Okay.
one. I think this is number 7. Let's see
Okay.
how many we can get in the sort of couple of hours we've got, and then there's a few more items I want to talk to you about.
Okay, yeah, for sure. This one I got in Japan, and I'll show you the sleeve when I play it. But this is by the greatest surf rock band, The Ventures, and this is a, I guess you would say a compacto. It's a 45. It plays at 45 RPM. And it's got 4 tracks on it, and they do a cover of Pipeline. Here we go.
Okay.
Yes, Nat, I know you love surf music. Yeah, me too. This is also on like a clear red vinyl. Susie G, what's happening?
That's another great choice. Another great choice. Did I say 33 on it?
Yeah, it does. Sorry, did I say it plays at 45? It plays at 33.
Well, you said it was compactus, and then you said it plays at
Sorry,
45.
sorry. I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about.
It's not like you to play 33s on a 45 show.
You said 7s. It can be 7s too. Right?
I'm joking. We love the compactus. We love the compactus. Certainly, a lot of the Brazilian 7s are at 33. But that's cool. Right, we haven't even touched on 45s and 7s and why you like them. So I know you obviously play a lot of 12s, a lot of albums. You know, your sets are much more mixed up certainly than my sets. But you know, why do you like the format?
Well, you know, it's funny because I've come around to liking 7-inch records a lot more than I used to. And primarily, well, 2 reasons I'd say. One, because of storage space.
Yeah.
But 2, it's just easier to kind of, when you look at, you know, flip through your stuff, you just know what it's going to be. You know, like a 12-inch, 12-inch disco record or anything. You know, it's like, okay, well, there's 2 sides, or maybe it's like one song with an instrumental on the backside.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be like, okay, well, oh, this LP, it's got 10 tracks or 12 tracks. And I think it was track 4 that had the, you know, that was like 100 BPM. But then like track 2 was like at 118 BPM. And then there was like a slow jam on the B side, you know, so sometimes, you know, mentally and physically organizing your records and trying to pick out what you want to play. Flipping through 45s is just like, okay, I know that this record is this song. You know, you don't have to go like, oh, wait, was this it? Is this going to work? So it's just easier. And I tend to play a lot of, like, pretty much all my sets are off the cuff. I don't really plan my sets.
Yeah.
So
it is easier, like you say. It's just, you know, you know the artwork, or you know the label, or you know the song, or whatever, and you know, you've got a 50-50 chance of getting it right first time by putting it on the right side. But yeah, I think it's strange. I haven't played 12s or albums in a mix for a while. I did one for DJ D, and it was very strange going back to 12s, and then obviously you're like, well, I quite like 7s. I don't really like 12s anymore. But it's one of those things. But you know, it's great that you're enjoying them. You know,
and they go by, and I like the fact that it goes by a little quicker. kind of keeps
Yeah.
you on your toes.
Definitely.
You know, I've kind of gotten away. I started out sort of as a house DJ where I played, long 7-8 minute tracks and had these nice super long blends. And that's, I still like house music, but I don't do a lot of that as much anymore. And my DJing style has changed over the years to where I kind of want to get, kind of get on with it. And, I mean, obviously there's a vibe you create when you're playing a certain style of music, especially like house or deep house. You're kind of like, okay, well, I'm not going to just, you know, change things up and cut things out. You want to kind of keep the vibe flowing. But with 45s, it's, I kind of want to keep it moving and keep it
Yeah.
fresh. And, I guess maybe I get a little bored with
Well,
a 7-minute song if I'm not in the mood for it.
Definitely. And I think for me, it's, I started with vinyl and CDJs and then sort of ended up doing DVS tractor DJing. And then a friend said, why don't we do a 45s night? And then I haven't really looked back after that because I found with digital DJing, certainly you just ended up playing same sort of crates or the same sort of tracks or the same sort of tempo. Whereas with 45s, I think there's the eclecticism with it. You can do an hour set and you could go through 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 genres. It doesn't really matter. You can do whatever you want. But as Benny says, again, there's so many genres within 45s. He's still playing soulful house, funk and disco on 45s. But he's obviously moved down from 12s to 45s. But yeah, and then Double P plays rave on 45s. It's amazing. Do you think that because you're streaming quite a lot and on Twitch, that's also something that not necessarily fueled by the viewers wanting you to change, but you thinking, actually, I'm bored after 3 minutes. I want to move on to another track, or I don't want to get bored, so I carry on. Is that part of it as well? Do you think?
I think so. Yeah, I definitely feel. I feel a little bit of mental pressure to kind of keep it moving on Twitch, because of the viewers, and sometimes I'm watching other people stream, and and I'm like, oh, this is great. Like I'm totally loving this this vibe, and I'm realizing that if that was me, I would have mixed out of it already,
Okay,
but I wouldn't like that that they're doing the right thing, that they're letting it breathe out. And and I'm like, oh man, I would have cut that short. And I find myself cutting things short and I'm like, kind of like that was not the right time to do that. And it's tough because you feel that you're like, okay, well, I guess I got to move it along. If it's a raid event and you've got an hour, and that goes by quick. And if you're playing house music, you're like, all right, cool, I played 3 records. But I do feel the pressure a little bit, to kind of keep it moving for the viewers.
And I think
if I'm just kind of standing there, if I'm playing jazz and it's an 11-minute jazz song, I'm like, okay, well, I hope you like it because I'm gonna sit here and just listen to it. So,
well, that's the other thing, isn't it? Because we're sort of front and center, aren't we? We're sort of there. And as Adam says, when you're on screen, you feel like you need to keep doing something.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's quite nice to just sit back and listen. I mean, I DJ my headphones quite a lot, so it's quite nice. I just vibe out and listen to it. But even then, I still think, maybe I should move it on. And there's often a case where even a 45 that I've listened to, I'll mix out halfway through, and then later I'll listen to the whole thing. And I'm like, oh, this track gets even better, in the second half. Why don't I just let the whole track flow? Because it builds and builds and builds and changes. And it's still only 3 or 4 minutes at 45. That's the thing. We're not talking 10 minutes or anything.
Yeah. I've definitely played Raid Train events sets that I purposely wanted to try and play as many records as possible. I'm not talking like Tommy T style. I can't do that. We were all there.
That was crazy. I can't believe he didn't record that. That was a Twitch 44 45s in 15 minutes. That was just,
it was incredible. But I tried to get through as many. I was like, and a friend of mine was like, hey, afterwards he was like, hey, why are you playing him? Why are you playing him so quickly? I'm like, well, that was kind of the idea, because then I was playing like 80s hits, so right, okay, you only need like 30 seconds of this Madonna song,
Everyone's
just
heard it
kind of like,
before. Yeah.
just like bang, bang, bang. And there's like that's like a DJ style, like just the quick
Yeah.
mix. And I remember going to clubs here in San Francisco and seeing, the beat, the triple threat DJs like Shortcut,
Yeah.
and them just like blasting through 45s. And I'm like, whoa, that's incredible.
It's amazing, but again, it comes back to the fact that you can DJ in different styles on Twitch depending on what you're doing, and it's all good. And King Tekka saying, best thing about having nobody watch my stream, don't have to worry about keeping chat happen. I can just listen to what I want. Brilliant, perfect.
Yeah.
And again, it does come back to that a little bit, isn't it? These are our channels, and yes, we've got followers, and yes, we've got people who tune in to watch, but ultimately, it's our channel. You can do what you want. Really. And like you said earlier, if you're not feeling it, or you just want to play slow jams or jazz for an hour or 2 hours or whatever, you can. There's no venue promoter or venue owner or any other sort of promoter saying you can't do this, do that, which is again very freeing, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I also, before we get too far along here, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that Criztoz is amazing. And let's just give a round of applause to 45 Day. We just had 45 Day last week.
Yeah.
And what a joy you are. And I want everybody to give him a round of applause, because
that's very kind.
Your involvement in the community has been extremely robust. And yeah, seriously, man, you're a force here. And I still need to go back and watch. I missed your Wednesdays on Wax event, but I got to go back and watch that because I love that show and I love you. So
it's not quite. It's not going to be the show that you normally used to. It was. It was. Guys, thank you so much. That's so appreciated. Yeah, Benny goes, yeah, I'm all right sometimes. Yeah, no, Wednesdays on Wax, that's an interesting one, because it's one of those that's like obviously one of my favorite shows. It's probably my favorite show on Twitch, I'd say, as a talk show. And obviously it inspired me to do talk shows, because it's only sort of watching what they were doing and seeing, okay, so they're using StreamYard, this is what they're doing, this is how they chat. That, and obviously Twig Music Tips as well, watching a lot of that, and a couple of the other shows. So, to be invited to go on there, on one of my favorite shows, I was like, really quite nervous. By that point, I had a couple of drinks. And then I get on there, and Mark Hype and Rick and not Stino, Triple, Major Triple, that they're all wasted. They're all having a party. And it's only thankfully because Jim Sharp stepped in and started asking like some sensible questions that we actually had a little bit of an interview. But it was very funny. It was very funny. So
that's great.
I don't know if it's up yet. I've got a copy, and I'll be putting it up on my YouTube when I've got time, probably next week. But I don't know if it's up. But yeah, it was funny.
Awesome.
It's one of those special shows. But thank you very much, and again, big thank you to everyone who's been part of 45 Day over the last 3 years. Everyone who's done a mix, everyone who's been on a raid event, everyone who's been on my show, anyone who's watched, followed, liked. If it wasn't
it's
you
blowing
guys,
up. I mean, it's getting. I mean, I remember last year compared to this year, it's just like it's just getting so much bigger.
We're up to, I think, about 300 mixes so far over the 3 years. We did 36 hours of live streams. And also the other things, obviously, we had the Sunday Get Down, My Daughter ZZ, Polyphonics, and also DJ JS. So the 45 Kids as well. They're coming through and doing their first sort of mix sets as well, which is great.
Amazing.
And then also we've increased the number of women. I think this year is about 20% women on the mixes. So it's gradually going up as well. So it's just trying to get as many people as possible involved in it, because it's just play some music 45 or whatever you want, and
fantastic,
it's brilliant. And Danny's I told you, Danny, it's Sam Tweaks. Sam SAM TWEAKS, Sam Tweaks. You have to invoice. Talking to Sam Tweaks, I'll keep it a little bit under wraps, but I've got a show coming up with Sam at the beginning of June, so just watch out for that. That's going to be a fun show. Right. Well, let's get back to you. You're my guest. Let's get back to you, and let's have another record, and then there's a couple more things again. I still need to talk about.
This will be a quickie. This is like one of these novelty records. I'm a big fan of like sound effects records or novelty records. And of
there's
course,
one I'm just going to pause you very quickly. There is one that I picked up and I almost bought, and I put it down, and then when I went to sort of find it again, it had gone. But it was San Francisco adult store, and the front of it was like a load of sort of dildos and vibrators, but it was basically they'd recorded men possibly from the 70s just talking in adult shops in San Francisco about what they were doing there. Someone was interviewing them. But yeah, I literally put it down, and then I sort of listened to something else, and then turned back, and obviously someone else had picked it up.
It's going to be on ZZ's next stream, right? You're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Don't play that one. Yeah. I'll tell you some funny stories about ZZ and the 45 days stream in a minute, but let's get this song, and then I'll tell you a couple
okay, this is a quick one. Any basketball fans will know this immediately. I think I found this, I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago.
Hey man, who's that cat coming down the street?
I don't know, but it sounds to me like that Griffin man with the bone.
Sure having himself a ball.
That's a cool tune. That's a cool tune. It's great. And as Air Adam says, DJ Mark Oxford. I don't know if was it a point redemption that he was doing on his.
Yeah, I've definitely seen Mark do that.
Yeah, doing that.
Danny Bounce, I'll send you the address.
D-Sync is saying, have you seen one of their shows? Harlem Globetrotters put on a great show. I haven't seen them. I've seen videos, but that. King Taco, can't listen to this and not see red, white, blue basketballs and those shorts they wore back in the day. Yeah. Yeah. Talking of your comment about ZZ, so obviously she tuned in and watched some of the streams for 45 Day. And one of them we were watching was Scotty Boy. He stepped in because someone dropped out. I can't remember who dropped out. And we're watching it for about 20 minutes, and she knows Scotty because we've been to Edinburgh. She's met him, and I've stayed with him. And then she was like, why does it say fuck forever on that poster? And it was like a Sex Pistols poster in the background saying fuck. I was like, that's just what's on the poster. It's just what's on the poster,
Let me change the topic.
Exactly. And then she wasn't in the room, thankfully, but then Les Telesan, Les the DJ was playing as well. And she was like, oh, 69 viewers. Oh, 69 viewers. I love 69, the number. And then she's like, oh, shit, ZZ, if you're listening, 69 doesn't mean anything. There's nothing special about the number 69. I was like, right, okay, let's corrupting the youth.
Well, I had right before, just so everybody knows, right before we started this stream, I got to chat with ZZ.
Oh, yeah.
And she was asking questions about me, and I was asking questions about her, but I got to see some of her artwork, and she's just a lovely little lady.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think she's met pretty much all of my guests. Actually, we try and get her just to say hello to most people. But yeah, she was showing you some of her artwork, which is good, and she's done a couple of the logos, which is cool. Right. Talking of children, obviously you're a dad. How has that impacted on your DJing? Has obviously, you said to start with, obviously when you first had your daughter, then obviously there wasn't so much DJing, but how'd you deal with being a dad? And she's been on a stream as well, hasn't she, a couple of times?
Oh yeah, she likes to she's usually into playing playing records with me at the beginning of my stream. She's like, I'm like, hey, do you want to, she'll ask me like, hey, are you going to DJ today? And I say, no, not today, honey. You going to DJ today? Yeah, today. And she's like, can I DJ with you? And then she'll get dressed up. And she'll hang out for like 15 minutes and maybe dance a little bit, but then she'll like get bored and go do something else.
Yeah.
But it used to be that the way that's impacted me DJing online is I used to play, well, I still do, on every Sunday afternoon, right around lunchtime. And that used to be her nap time.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, cool. Like that works out. She'll go down for a nap. I'll play records for like 2 or 3 hours. And then when she wakes up, I can go back to doing parental stuff.
Yeah.
On the weekend. But now she doesn't really nap anymore.
No, they don't after a while.
Yeah. And but now she's involved, with me a little bit. But also I think it's impacted me in the fact that I really can't ever DJ at night. So, because our house has kind of got thin walls and it's, I've got neighbors downstairs. But yeah, and my bedroom is on the other side of this wall, so, any night DJing just doesn't fly. So, I just kind of like, okay, I'm a daytime DJ. I do my weekly in the afternoon. I do the Vinyl World Cup in the afternoon. If I'm on a raid train, I request an early slot.
Sure.
So that's kind of one of the things is I really can't, people are like, hey, can you DJ at, 7 p.m. for me? And I'm like, it's kind of like get ready for bedtime for the kid. So I think it's
maybe when
my schedule.
when you move and have got some more space, you can have a little shed in the garden or something like that.
I hope so. That's the dream.
Yeah. I'd like to do it. We might do it at some point in the future. We'll see what happens. I've got a question from Desync. We have touched upon your wardrobe a little bit, but his question is, you're always looking sharp. Is this an everyday thing?
I wear a fair bit of t-shirts and jeans. I wear jeans and t-shirts almost every day, but I put on a collared shirt every now and then for work or just for fun. So it is kind of an everyday thing, but I do put on a tie for the streams fairly frequently, which I don't do in my everyday. But no, I like to,
well, we're putting
dress nicely. Dress nicely, I guess, in general. Yeah, put on a show.
Definitely. I've completely lost track. We're maybe on number 8, but it doesn't really matter anymore. But
I have no idea.
let's have another one. Let's have another track.
Thank you, Nat. Although I don't think I've only maybe worn a wig like Nat Jacko maybe once, but not the white wig. I think I wore a brown
photo of Nat Jacko, and I didn't realize, as she put up the other day, I think that it's her son who took that photo in the swimming pool of their building. I think.
Okay.
Nat Jacko
this next one, let's see. This might go into our next topic. We'll see. Cool. But it might be a good segue. This is a very obvious one. Again, sort of a novelty record. I love reggae and dub and funk and soul and all that stuff too. But if I'm on a show talking about kind of fun 45s, I'm not going to just play Marvin Gaye records. So this one is from a movie you may have seen. I'm not sure. I'll just play it.
Cool. I see where we're going.
So if you need a alien cocktail, you go to this bar. You can put some money in the tip jar for the Cantina band.
Right. Well, I love that song, and a few things come out of that. And yes, Danny Bounce we all love Star Trek.
Yes, I know.
There was
Long live Gandalf.
who was it? I think might have been Simon Hoo-Ha's DJ, a 45 DJ with us. He put up a thing, and it was like a pie chart. It was like people talking about Star Wars on Star Wars Day, people talking about Star Trek, people talking about Battlestar Galactica, and things like that. So I think there was a photo like Happy Star Trek Day, and it was a picture of Battlestar Galactica and that. Obviously, Star Wars Day is the same day as 45 Day, which is rather inconvenient for Disney when I take over the world with 45 Day. Maybe they'll sponsor me one day. But coming back to Wednesdays on Wax, they were playing the Star Wars theme tunes, obviously, and yeah, Mark Hype and Rick and Major Triple were dancing around. So as DJ D said, it's very difficult to concentrate when there's 3 Ewoks dancing around. So I was trying to sort of have this sort of straight face, trying to keep it together for this supposedly serious interview, and then these guys are just messing about. But the reason you're playing that is that one day I was watching one of your streams, and then you played this video. So let's play this video, and then you can sort of explain what it's about. So there's no sound to this, so we can sort of talk over it. But there we go. Here we go. Here's the video. If you haven't seen this before, this is a real treat.
Yeah, this is a movie. It was kind of an underground film. So there's this person over here on the side.
Who's that? Who's that over there?
That's me.
That's you.
That is me. So this film came out in 1977. I was born in 1972. So I was not I was not 5 years old when I was put into Star Wars. But the story goes that I did get to work at Industrial Light and Magic as an intern, and then I ended up working there for about 7.5 years. Industrial Light and Magic is George Lucas's special effects company.
Yeah.
And that did all the, sort of the sister company to Lucasfilm. And so when they're making Star Wars and Empire and Jedi, ILM would make all the visual effects, spaceships, lightsabers, whatever. So I ended up working at Industrial Light and Magic as an intern in 1996, and I got my dream job. I was working at Trader Joe's, and as a clerk with long hair and a ponytail, and I got this internship. And during this internship, they needed somebody to kind of help out, and they're like, "Hey, go over to this stage. They need some help with this." And so I went over there, and they said, "Put these clothes on, and we're going to take a photograph of you and composite you into Star Wars A New Hope, Episode 4, because we're cleaning up and we're redoing some of the visual effects." And so this is the blue screen shot, and I actually have the... I actually got it printed here. I have.
I was going to say. I was going to say you're going to suddenly turn into wear the costume.
I have this.
Oh wow! Hold on.
So this, they took a picture of me on stage here, and then they, a little baggy suit here, and my ponytail was tucked in behind my... I think you can see that too well, but was tucked in my collar there. And they composited me into the film. And I just happened to get a pretty choice location. So all the people in the foreground there are all ILM employees
Wow.
that got shot, that placed into the film. And so I just happened to be, in the front row. And I was like, oh my God, I can actually see my face. So... I'm in the special edition of Star Wars A New Hope.
Yeah.
And I ended up working at Industrial Light and Magic for, like I said, 7 or so years. And, I worked on the first prequel, The Phantom Menace. But I also have, film credits as a visual effects editor or assistant editor on many of the films from that time period between 97 and 2003. So, the second Harry Potter film.
Oh, you should have told Zia that. She loves Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, a bunch of others. Galaxy Quest. I worked on Galaxy Quest. That was a really fun one. So a bunch of these like large visual effects films that kind of came out during that period I worked on. Yeah, so growing up a Star Wars kid, I was like, I got to work at ILM, and that was a real treat for me.
Cool. We have got a question from Mrs. Sam. May she ask what you do for a living?
I still work in film and video, so I'm mostly in post-production. So after they go out and shoot the footage on a high-end digital camera for a TV commercial or an industrial corporate video, I will sort of handle the workflow, getting all that footage into post-production for editing. And I don't do the editing, but I'm sort of in that field. So I used to work in color correction as well. So I used to work with people who had film and transferring their actual film to video and color correcting it as you go, or color correcting commercials or feature films or documentaries, or even student films. But now I work at a corporate facility, and I took the corporate job a few years ago. But I still work with video and film, not film anymore, but video, high-end video.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Cool. Well, it's very cool. And yeah, I mean, that Star Wars, as soon as I saw that and we discussed coming on the show, I was like, right, we have to play that. We have to show that clip because that's so cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, I peaked. That was like the peak of my nerd claim to fame. Like I was like, all right, that was it.
Danny Bounce is going to link you with his cousin who does sound design for film and TV. So that's good. There you go. More connections being made.
Let's do it.
Right. Let's have another record. What have you got?
Okay. This one's another like all-time in the feels soul tune. It's at about 110 BPM. Of course, as a DJ, we like to BPM out a lot of our tracks. But it's by Sonia Spence. Fantastic tune called "Let Love Flow On."
Let love flow on, baby. Let love be free. I reach for you, honey. You reach for me. We'll do the things together only lovers do. Let love flow on, baby. We'll do the things together only lovers do. Let love flow on, baby. Getting into each other, yes, we'll unite. And we'll let love's vibrations lead us aright. We'll do the things together only lovers do. Let love flow on, baby.
So that's a
beautiful track.
That's an amazing track. It's not necessarily a special rare record. It is a repress, a reissue. It came out a couple of years ago, but the song is just immaculate. So it's just a song that I love.
What's you mentioned sort of reissues. I mean, are you precious about sort of having OGs, or at the end of the day, it doesn't matter?
No, I don't really care. I just want the music on a vinyl record. So
yeah.
I don't have a preference. If it's, honestly, like if it's the difference between buying an $80 original and a $20 reissue, I'll probably take the reissue. Just I'm like, it's sometimes nice to find, but if they're, like, hey, it's a $40 original and a $20 reissue, maybe you'll go for the original, but then it might not sound as good because of age and wear and tear. But no, I don't really have a not a stickler for for OGs. I know like Golden Child was was chatting with him in his chat yesterday, and I know he's he's a stickler for OG or nothing, and I think Shotgun Shima is similar too. So yeah,
It's
I don't I don't really
it
care.
I had that with Joa Jones came on the show, and I've met her in London a few weeks ago, and we were talking about this, and a lot of the events that she plays a lot of 60s garage, fuzz, that sort of stuff, and she was saying that unless you're playing OG records, you can't get on the bill, or you're not allowed to play reissues or re-edits or anything like that. So yeah, it's obviously just a little. I mean, obviously then you've got the whole Northern Soul scene, which is just another massive different scene, and obviously the records there go ridiculously priced, but yeah, it depends on what you're doing, depends who you are, depends, like you say, money as well, but I think really, I think it just depends if you want it on the vinyl and you want it on the format, and there is a repress or a reissue that's substantially cheaper, then unless you've got the budget, there's nothing wrong with going for the cheaper version.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's not a competition for me. I don't.
No, definitely not.
I do like the thing about of course, because we're record heads. I can't necessarily say it's all about the music, because I do want to play on vinyl, and that's sort of my thing. Is as a lot of us we are vinyl DJs.
Yeah.
And I did Serato for a number of years as well, which was great for that period of my life and DJing career. But I think now I'm just like all about records, and
yeah,
I would like to have it's just more interesting for me. I mean, there's a lot of great music that's not on records.
Yeah,
and I recognize that, but it's just kind of my jam. So
yeah, definitely, and that's why a lot of us connect, and I think there's also something to be said for not all digital DJs download their music. A lot of them obviously pay for their music, but I think there's something to be said that as DJs that we've spent money, small or large, whatever it is, on a record that we've decided to buy and then play out. It's not something we've just downloaded and thought, oh, that might be okay, or that might sort of fit. We've spent money and put love into whatever we've got, and I think that comes across in most of the vinyl sets that sort of are out there. I would say, and a lot of vinyl DJs. Right, I'm going to say play one more, and then we'll then start doing a little bit nerding about your mixer.
Okay. This one is a record by Supermax, and I found it in Lisbon, Portugal last year. And I didn't even know it existed. I didn't know who this band was, but I was in a shop, and I think he was playing it in the store or something, and or something similar. I don't think he was playing this particular 45, but I think he was playing an album by this artist. And I was talking to the store owner, and he said, "Oh yeah, this is this band, Supermax. They're a German like disco rock band."
Cool.
And I was like, "Okay, cool. Like that sounds good." And he showed me that. He's like, "Oh, this is the LP. This is the big tune on it. It's called it's called Love Machine." And he's like, "Oh, you know this song?" And I was like, "No, I don't know what that is." And he played it for me. I was like, "Oh, that is a really good song."
Cool.
And I almost bought the LP, and I was like, I put it away and I didn't buy it. And I was like, shoot, I should have bought that. Yeah. And then like 2 or 3 days later, when I was digging in Lisbon, I found the 45, which is perfect, right? Brilliant. Going back to like, well, now I just wanted that one song. Yeah. Now I don't need the LP, and I don't need the other 8 or 10 tracks.
So hold on, this was the guy in the first record shop played you the LP. And then
I didn't buy it. And then I found the 45 at a different store.
Amazing. That was meant to be.
And I was like, okay, Supermax. And it's got a picture sleeve. I'll show it to you. But it's it's a fun track. Check it out.
Cool.
Nice long intro for us DJs.
Yeah.
Lyrics coming up in a second. Might have to skip forward.
It's all right. Cool.
If you need a one-day lover, just call 7654321. One-day lover. If you need a two-day lover, just call 8765432. 2 days lover. Cause the love I will give you. Cause the love I will give you is sweeter than anything else.
That's a brilliant track. So that's German band, you said?
Yeah, Supermax.
From when? When's that made?
1977. Looks like there actually might be an autograph on the back here. Maybe that.
Wow, it's doubled in value. Is that an autograph?
Maybe. Let's see.
Let's have a look. Oh, there's certainly looks like a couple of autographs on there. It doesn't say property of someone.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. What's up, Sam Tweaks? Welcome in.
Big up, Sam Tweaks. And yeah, I mean, watch this space. Me and Sam are doing a couple of shows beginning in June, which are going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, here we go. Sam Tweaks is claiming it. He says it's property of Sam Tweaks. Sam owns every other 45. I'm surprised he doesn't have that one. But yeah, brilliant. Okay, that's a great story. Right, let's get a little bit nerdy, as if we haven't got nerdy enough. We had Robert Smith was on, and we were talking about this mixer that I've now got, which is the S7. We had Chris Wheatley on talking about his rotary mixer. And there's two things. Obviously, you've got the rotary mixer, and I sent Chris a message the other day. I was like, oh, I'm looking into maybe rotary mixers. Is there any rotary mixers that have got effects in them? And he said he doesn't believe so, because obviously it looks like you've got an effects machine or something on top of your rotary mixer there. So talk us through what you've got in terms of the mixer first, and why you like rotary mixers and how they affect and how you DJ with them. And then obviously we can talk about the effects side of things after that.
Yeah, so I did end up getting a rotary mixer 2020 at the end of the year.
Okay.
Maybe it was right at the start of 2021. But I was playing with a Rane TTM 56 for about 10 years, and prior to that I was like on a Pioneer, was it a DJM 500, the silver one?
Right. Okay.
4-channel, and so I had that for a long time.
Yeah.
But then I went to the Rane, and I loved that mixer, and it was great. But I kind of felt like I was ready for. I was like, well, I'm ready for a new mixer, and I wasn't sure what I was going to buy.
Yeah.
And I wanted something, with more effects on it, and then I was like, well, maybe a rotary mixer, and I'm not much of a scratch DJ anyway, so I I started looking at different options, and I ended up, yeah, bot, wrong stream. But uh,
Well,
I
what
ended
does
up
that
looking at
command do on your stream? Does it do
it
something?
just says the name of the mixer because everybody's like,
Oh,
"What
okay.
is that?" Um, yeah, so I ended up looking at different options, Bozak or the Rain,
Yeah.
and just a few others, and the Master Sounds, and I almost bought a Master Sounds, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just like spend the money, like I cut off a couple of toes and spend the money on the Condesa, but it took solid 6 months to get here.
Right.
So,
Okay.
and I knew that going into it. So I mulled over it for like 2, 3, 4 months. I was like, it's too much money. No.
Yeah.
And then I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And so I finally just paid the money. And they said, okay, thanks for your payment. We'll let you know when we build it. It's going to be a long time. And I was like, okay, great. And that's kind of why I figured, well, by the time I get it,
You'd have
you
paid it
know,
off.
I've kind of like saved up enough money to buy it. So
Yeah.
I just did it. I just dove in, and it doesn't have any effects on it. It is an all analog mixer. So it's nice and clean and warm sounding. It's got some, I'll show you the overhead, but it's got, it's
Just
got,
say hi to before you go, Miss Soul Turner. She's on next week, so just saying hello to her.
hey, Miss Soul Turner, how you doing?
Thank you for joining us.
Two
Let me just get you
channel.
on. Let me just get you on one. There you go. That's better.
So two channels with a high, mid, low, and then an isolator up top. So these are almost full cut isolator, high, mid, low, and then it's got an effects send and return for each channel. And the effects send and return goes to this ancient Pioneer EFX 500, which I've had for God knows how long, and it used to live in the closet
Right.
a long time ago. And I pulled it out, and ideally like to have a little bit more. I'd love to have like a reverb, like the Pioneer machines
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
But I can get away with an echo and a flanger. I almost never touch this side of the effects box. It's pretty much only a couple effects on this side. And my DJing style with a rotary mixer even without a rotary mixer, has always been more of a blend. I'm a blending DJ.
Yeah.
So I don't, I don't really, I can't cut it up. And I know Danny Bounce has given me some nice encouragement over the over a stream before, but yeah, I mean, I do miss having a crossfader, and I know they do you can get this Condesa special ordered with a crossfader. I know Scratch Bastard has one, and which is a few $100s more.
And it must take a lot longer to build as well.
Yeah, it's an amazing machine. It sounds great.
Yeah.
It's super fun to mix on. As getting to know your mixer, and you just get to know it really well. And you're like, okay, I do this. In this situation, I play like this. I do this little trick to get out of songs where it's getting a little sideways. But yeah, it's a joy to play on. And because I don't have much of a repertoire with the the scratch skills, I don't really miss it too much. I do miss it a little bit because it would be nice to do it every now and then, but I'm very happy with it, and it's been a great investment. It's a little bit embarrassing because I do know it costs a ton of money, and people are like, what's that mixer? And I know, and they're gonna go look it up online, and they're like, holy shit, dude.
I see.
I'm like,
It's
I
very
know.
true, but I mean, in a way, okay, I'm assuming this isn't, obviously we know it's not your main income, but you are using it. It's your tool of streaming and DJing, and you're on however many times a week.
Yeah, I'm on a
it's not like you're using it once and then not using it again for like 2 months or 3 months. You're
right.
using it on a, and it, I didn't really need to get the mixer I've got, but I had Z2, which was fine. And I was just like, you know what? I use it pretty much every day. You know, why not get something that I want and has got a few more bells and whistles, a few more things that I can do. But yeah, and like Mrs. Sam says, not everyone's a DJ Cuba. And Air Adam says, yeah, you work hard, your money's yours to enjoy.
Yeah, and I also figured you only live once. I'm not
exactly.
I'm not 30 anymore. I'm not 40 anymore. So, I was like, hey, I'm gonna like enjoy what I got, and this is my hobby. This is my passion. So
it definitely is, and I think this isn't. There's my other show where we talk about mental health, but I think it does overlap, doesn't it? Because like most people, I imagine when you go on a stream, it lifts you pretty much straight away. Because you're listening to music, you're doing something you really enjoy. There's people there listening to it. You're chatting, and all of that has got to be beneficial to you in your life, mental health, and obviously that sort of follows down to sort of physical health as well. And I think that's really important.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I get excited to stream. I'll think about it before I go to bed at night, and I'll be like, okay, I can't wait to get on this thing tomorrow. And thanks, Danny. But yeah, like I get excited. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play on this. I got this big rate. Like I got on Soul Train. A couple months ago.
That was amazing. Yeah.
Sam Tweaks. Thank you, Sam. I know Sam was pulling strings in the background there for me. So, thank you, Sam Tweaks. But, like I was like, okay, boy, this is a pretty big event, that's high profile. So I want to do good. And, but even on my personal weekend streams, my Soul Bingo streams, I get excited. I'm like, okay, cool. I've got these new records I want to play, or I'm really in this kind of mood. I really want to, play this, vibe. And, usually my Sundays are kids ballet in the morning, and go to the playground, and then come home, feed the kid lunch, and then put on a tie and play records for 3 hours.
Yeah. So Sam's more jealous that you were in that film.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught it. You might have missed we've played it a couple of times. We might play it again at the end. What else have we got? And Soul Bingo is wicked, as Double P says. Let's have another record. Probably do 2 more. So put this one, we'll have a little bit of chat, 1 more, and then we'll raid out.
Okay, here's another quote unquote comedy record. It's also very funky, and in the right set, I think this would work at the right moment. It's I think it's really easy for DJs to play what works, especially in like a club setting or whatever, or a bar, I'm gonna just play my genre of choice, and I'm just gonna pound that forever. And then I would like to see a little bit more variety, and take more chances. And I guess it's one of the things I've learned on Twitch is just take a chance if it feels right. Like just kind of make a left turn. And this is definitely a left turn track. I'm not going to tell you the artist, you'll know immediately.
Okay.
Thought he'd see people stand in line to see the boy king. How'd you get so funky? Did you do the monkey? Born in Arizona, moved to Babylonia. Now if I'd known they'd line up just to see him, I'd taken all my money and bought me a museum. He's my favorite honky. Born in Arizona, moved to Babylonia.
I love it.
Great.
That's a great one. It's so silly, so dumb, but it works.
Yeah. Legend though, isn't he? Total legend. Cool. So, other than that's a good idea, Sam. A novelty record 45 Raiders. Yeah, okay. We're doing summer is our next theme, and I've just confirmed our last DJ. I'll send you a message later, Sam. That's 45 Raiders that I do with Sam every last Monday of each month. So yeah, that's fun. Right, like I said, so we'll do one more track. But yeah, so Vinyl World Cup you've got coming up. Let's just show that again quickly there. All the DJs we're playing. Me, you, Lil Dave, Mike C, Mr. Lob, DJ Beat, Gen Rock, J1. What else have you got coming up? What other events of your own or other raid events are you taking part in the next sort of couple of weeks?
Let's see. What am I doing? Let's see. I just did a thing last Saturday for Mark in the Dark. No Soul Train for me this month because I think they're doing or they just did the in-person one. Hey Les, welcome in. Hey Les.
Hey Les, we were talking about you earlier, and
yeah, we were talking about you. Let's see. I'm doing the three of us with Baby Funk and Watarai and DJ Kango.
Cool.
On the 25th of May. And of course the Vinyl World Cup. So far it's looking like May might be a little lighter than usual.
That's all good. Gives you a break, and
yeah, and it's getting to be the busy season for me at work, so
yeah,
it's gonna, but I'm sure things are gonna come along. Yeah, I'm doing the three of us. Oh, and then Cool Rockers. That's right, Chris Wheatley. Thank you for the reminder. I'm like having a brain freeze here, trying to figure out what next record I'm going to play. But yeah, Cool Rockers is an event that Chris Wheatley, myself, and DJ Bill have put together.
Yeah, this is a new one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a new one. We've done one of them so far, and the next one we're picking a date shortly here. Everything dub Rocksteady Roots and Lovers Rock. So Criztoz, you're going to be on that.
I think I'm on the waiting list, yeah, for one of those coming up soon. I don't know when yet, but definitely that's right up my street. That's going to be great.
And so Cool Rockers, and then speaking of rotary mixers, Chris Wheatley and myself and Vinyl Honey, aka Lady G, are putting together another event. We're just getting the ball rolling after many months of talking about it, about doing an all rotary mixer raid train. So you have to have a rotary mixer.
It's so cool, but that's the whole thing of this. We're getting sort of, in a way, we're sort of niche already, but then obviously taking it even nicher. So you can only play if you've got a rotary mixer, or it's a little bit like some of the 45 events I do. You can only play if you play funk 45s or if you play reggae 45s or whatever. But it's brilliant that the space is there to be able to do that.
Yeah. Are the sets 30 minutes? Sorry, Sam. The sets for Cool Rockers are an hour. 1 hour.
Yeah.
But I will say about the Vinyl World Cup, going back to that. And then thanks, Chris. Chris, you can invoice me later.
Disco Cosmos. That's
Disco Cosmos. I'll be on that. I don't have my list of gigs in front of me, so. But yeah, Disco Cosmos, I'll be on that. Thank you, Chris, for the invite. So that should be a fun one. But the Vinyl World Cup, it's been going on for a year and a half now, and it's been a joy to put together because I've been able to ask all these DJs that I look up to, and some of them are like, "Oh yeah, sure." I'm like, "What, really?" I had,
that's the thing, isn't it? It's brilliant.
They're just like, "Oh wow, really? You'll actually do this? That's great."
People generally, unless they're doing something else or on another raid event or doing a gig, if they're available, most people say yes to being on
incredible.
Events. It's sort of back and forth support, isn't it? It's a brilliant community coming back to community, as we talked about earlier. But
yeah, so that's really exciting for me. And in the next Vinyl World Cup, what's up, Johnny? You are a little late, but that's okay. I just need to see your doctor's note.
get to hear one more 7 before we raid out. So that's cool. We haven't missed all the music.
But go ahead.
I was going to just say, if anyone is late or if anyone has missed any of it, all of the shows are on YouTube, and the audio will be on Mixcloud if you like listening to audio like podcasts, on the 45-day Mixcloud, and then the video will be on the 45-day YouTube, where there's all the other shows as well. DJ Sweettooth. That's you need to turn it turn the record upside down.
Right, but who signed the sleeve here?
It's someone called Sam.
Sam somebody? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. It looks like he's got hair on the top of his head the way you've got the record round. There you go. There's the Sam we all know.
Sam Beeks.
Sam Beeks. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Okay, let's hear this last one. I've got no idea how many you've played. Maybe 12, 13, 14?
I don't know. I've got a bunch in here, but
I don't know. But you got a load in. So let's hear this last one.
Okay, this last one is a track I play fairly frequently. I don't know much about the history of this song. I should probably look it up, but this is a reissue. But I love the vibe of this track. It's by Jeanette Dubois. It's called Queen of the Highway. And here we go. So if you know me, I like disco-y tinged tunes. So that was Jeanette Dubois with Queen of the Highway.
That's a lovely track.
I don't know much of the history. Somebody's got to school me on this. But I do have
I don't know. Sam Tweaks is saying, is Jeanette Dubois psychic? I don't know. And Double P is off to buy the CD because the last show we did, Mark Lancaster, there was I can't remember what record it was, but he played it, and then Double P rushed off to Discogs to buy it, and then 3 days later when it arrived, it was a CD, not the 7-inch record.
Oh, I've done that. Easy
mistake to make. TV show pun from Mr. Tweaks, Mr. Pun. He's got a little competition from some other people with puns in one of our other groups. But anyway, right, let me just set the raid going in a minute. But just a couple of things before we just sort of close out. What's coming up? We've got next Monday at the later time of 10 p.m. UK time is DJ D from Australia. That's on Part of My Journey. That's going to be a cool show. And then on the Tuesday, we've got Miss Soul Turner, who's been in the chat, which is cool. And then after that, we have got Colonel MC coming up on Part of My Journey. And then we have, if I remember rightly, you mentioned him earlier, Don Champ Sound is coming on this show on the 24th of May. That's going to be an interesting conversation. We're going to see what he's got to play. I don't know if
Hopefully
he's
it's not too
playing...
early for him. He's a late riser.
He's not too bad. He made it to some of our other raid events at that sort of time. But it's going to be good. Anyway, let me set the raid.
Okay. I did forget to mention I do a weekly stream called Soul Bingo. That's the wrong one. But it's on Sunday afternoon. Starts at 12 noon Pacific time. It's 3 p.m. Eastern. So if you're around at that time, you want to tune in. That's Sunday afternoons for Soul Bingo. And I think that's where I met Sam Tweaks when he raided me the first time.
Cool. He's saying at 8 p.m. UK time. What time did you say? Midday?
Yeah, it's 8 p.m. UK. That's correct.
Yeah, so that's 8 p.m. UK. So that's cool. So thank you so much, Kerry, for coming on. It's been amazing music.
You're the man.
Brilliant stories. Great chat. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm sure you were all already following him, but if you're not, then obviously make sure you go to twitch.tv/DJ_Sweettooth and tune into the streams. And as we said, you can catch both of us on the Vinyl World Cup a week on Friday. I think it's you first, isn't it? I think you're first, and then it's me after you, isn't it? So
correct. Yep.
So
I'll try not to screw up the raid.
I'm sure you've had enough practice by now.
Yeah.
But we're going to go and see J1 Sun, who's finishing that raid event. So we'll go and see J1 Sun now. And
thank you, Criztoz.
Thanks very much, everyone, tuning in. And if you want to watch back, as I said, it will be on Mixcloud to listen to and on YouTube to watch back. And 3, 2, 1, and we should be raided out.